beading times with everybody, right? I just dropped something I needed, so before I turn the camera on me anyway, I have to retrieve it. So bear with me a little bit. Let's make sure that everybody is jumping on the stream and we are ready to go. And I will be with you shortly. Let's make sure. Looks like you guys can hear me okay. Just make sure to give me some thumbs up while we're getting started here so you can hear me. You'll see me in just a brief moment here. I want to make sure that I get all of my streams and stuff ready. It looks like I'm getting the thumbs up from everybody. Wonderful. So let's get this show on the road, shall we? On 3, 2, and 1. Here we go. It is the last day of July. We made it through July, everyone. So it's great to see you all. I've also posted this on a couple of different pages. You know, we're on our YouTube channel over here as beadshop.com. We're also on our Facebook page also as beadshop.com. But I also added it to my Kate Richburg Jewelry Educator page. So I'm sorry I don't have, let me see if I can get that stream going up as well. I can see everybody's comments from everywhere. So let me see if I can get those comments up as well. If you're watching it from there, I can, I'll be able to see your comments also. So, so bear with me. We've got so many comments, so many people watching, which is awesome. So it was great. It's great to have you all here. So, alrighty, let's get started. And yes, thank you for the love on all of this. I did another COVID cut, right? Chris was like my punk rock husband, and we shaved each other's heads again, just like we were in college. So that's right. Don't be afraid of a COVID cut, everybody, right? You should see my husband's. Anyway, so it was good. So with Friday, if those of you who are new watching me on our YouTube channel or on our Facebook pages, I just wanted to let you guys know that you can find all of these archived broadcasts right over. Best place to find them is jump over to YouTube, give beadshop.com a follow, and then you'll be notified when everything is coming up, right? So that's the easiest way to find them. You can also find them archived right on our Facebook page, and probably also on my Kate Richburg Jewelry Educator page here on Facebook as well. Okay, so there's lots of ways that I can communicate with you every Wednesday and Friday at 10:30 a.m. Pacific time right here. I come to you live, okay? And live means, okay, we'll see how things go, right? And always with a knot, you guys. Those of you who watched the Kate's Creative Connections back at the beginning of quarantine when I was broadcasting 3 to 5 days a week for you guys, I was doing a lot of knotting because I love knots. I love tying knots. I always have. We talked about the big Ashley Book of Knots and stuff like that, right? So you can, so knot tying is lots of fun for me. I love it. And so I tied the Chinese button knot, a lot of different fun knots there. But today we're going to tie, it's a half hitch. So you already know how to make this knot, right? If you know how to macrame, macrame is just a series of half hitches to the left and to the right, right? And those 2 half hitches make one full square knot, right? Same thing that we're going to do today. It's almost exactly like the macrame, but we're going to do it around a ring. So this is called the ring hitch knot. Okay, super easy, right? And so just bear with me. I'm going to talk you through it. I've got 2 versions, and I think you're going to want to be something like that. Tie them all weekend. They're great. You can use them as pendants, you can use them as earrings, all this stuff, right? And Drea, right now, as we speak, is populating a project page for it right over on beadshop.com. So you'll be able to find all of the ingredients there. But I also have a list, fear not, right over here on the screen. And I have the mantra for the ring hitch using 2 chords. We're going to use a ring hitch using 1 chord. And then we're going to go into the 2 chord version. They're both pretty easy, right? And so I'll get back to this mantra in a minute, right? But the ingredients I'm going to be using, right? I have and these are all available, of course, on beadshop.com, our fun little business right here in Redwood City, California. So we've got a biding in brass, the medium hoop in antique copper, 0.5 millimeter leather cord in distressed denim, the 0.5 millimeter Chinese knotting cord in peacock and gray. This is just what I'm using. You can substitute, of course, any colors, and I'll talk a little bit about the weights of the cords in a second. I'm using my most beloved brass shadows because they were sitting here in front of me, so I've got those. I've got a scrap of Feel Good chain from Wednesday's broadcast with Janice's piece that I did, so I incorporated that. And then if you want to turn these, I'm digging these that I did with the shadows, and you'll see this in a second. You can turn them into earrings. So I used the niobium ear wire in antique copper with the 3 millimeter copper bead. And I have some zap glue so we can glue down the ends of that cord. Okay, so that's the story. So let's take a look at what it is that I'm actually going to be making. Shall we now? Let's go over here. Before I jump in, I want to say a big shout out to everybody. It's great. I'm seeing some new names here, which is awesome. So welcome to you guys who are watching me for the first time, either on the Facebook feeds or YouTube. I see Janice over on the YouTube feeds moderating, and I know that Brittany was over there, popped in to say hello. Over on Facebook, we have Gita posting and linking as beadshop.com. It's the Facebook Bead Shop page. If you're watching this from my Kate Ferrant Richburg Jewelry Educator page, I'll keep an eye on those comments, and if you have any questions, I'll try and answer them as well. And we've got Gita over as Bead Shop. I said that. We've got Drea over there, and I think Emily also jumped on. So it is a full Friday house right here. All right, let me take a bracing sip of coffee, and let's take a look. I'm going to zoom in a little bit here, and Drea got that. She's the world's fastest typer, that girl. Drea said she got the product page up already, and so if you want to shop exactly what I got, if you look under ring bolt hitch knot, it's there, or you can see it in the link is over in that Facebook in the Facebook feed over there. So I'm sure, Janice, you can jump over and grab it. Though maybe if I can grab it, let me see this really quick. If I'm going to be super clever about it here, let me see. I'm going to copy it, and let me see if I can look at that. Bam. I can knot and link all at the same time. That's crazy. All right, let's get back to this. So here we go. Here are the 2 ring bolt hitch knots. Okay, and again, you already know how to do this, especially, right? So you can see here, I'm going to get a little bit tighter. I've just tied these half hitches around rings. Okay, that's it. And I'm going to walk you through it. This is the one that has the single hitch, right? And I added the shadows to it. And you can see there's this single hitch kind of going around the side of the ring. And I used our medium hoop for that, okay, in antique copper. But you can use anyone. Andrea says she's working on it. Okay, awesome. I know she's fast, but not that fast. You could also use, I grabbed our large hoop here if you wanted a pendant that's bigger. And I also, our hammered hoops, we carry them in the round and the teardrop. This is also a great, what do I want to say? A great candidate for this. Okay, so let me measure this. It's kind of hard. You saw it in my hand, but I have my caliper here, and I kind of like to give you an idea of the measurement of these. So our medium hoop, it measures, oops, let me get back to the millimeters, about 24.5 millimeters or so, right? So it's a good size. It's a nice size ring. You can, here's our large one, a little bit bigger, almost 35 millimeters. And then this smaller dude right here, it's about 18 millimeters. You could also, you guys, I'm using this hoop, we call it a biting, this one, right, on Bead Shop. This looks also kind of like a washer, right, that you might have at home. Doing this kind of one here, this is the double, the ring hitch using 2 cords. And when you use 2 cords, it's nice to have, you can see the top comes out a little bit differently. So it's really fun around some kind of a washer product, right? So if you have some washers in your, I don't know, in your hardware drawer or something, be a good way to just check it out, right? And try it out. This is the 0.5 millimeter Chinese knotting cord that I've got here. You can use, and it's a, you know, if I had grabbed the 0.8, maybe this would go a little bit faster, but I don't mind the thinner cord with it. You could even go down to the 0.4 millimeter if you wanted for a, you know, if you had a smaller piece. Just practice with what you've got, right? If you don't have anything, you can certainly go right on over to Bead Shop and pick up the things that I've been using here. But I know a lot of you who have been watching my broadcasts and know the stuff we have here at Bead Shop. I'm sure you have some Chinese knotting cord here, right? So this, in the 0.8, 0.5, or even going down, I've got some 0.4 here as well. The 0.4 will be just a little bit thinner. You can see that. So play around. Okay, you could even try it. I don't know if you had something like twine, like kitchen twine or something like this, right? If you had 2 colors of it or whatever, this is what we use to tie things down to our board. So for practice, because you're going to want to practice this a few times, and then you're going to want to jump into your finished stuff. Okay, so this is the 2 cord ring hitch, ring bolt hitch, and here is the single. So let's jump in with the single first, right? Because it's a little bit easier to do. And these are the antique brass shadows right here. Drea was asking. It's the antique brass. And so I'm going to grab this medium hoop. Let me clear everything else out of the way so we're not distracted. Or at least I'm not distracted. Now I grabbed this scrap of 0.5 millimeter leather cord out of our scrap bin, but we sell it in 4-yard lengths. So the board that I have, I'm working on one of our deep dish design trays. It's about 14 inches. So I'm gonna go maybe like 3, this is about 3 lengths, I guess. So, you know, somewhere south of a yard, I think, will be plenty, because you don't want to have to add cord to this. Okay, and I'm going to talk about my fatal mistake, what I did here with this one, but I'll show you how I fixed it. But about a yard of cord, and the 0.5 millimeter leather cord, what I want to do before I even use it, I want to run it through my hands and I want to make sure that there aren't any weak spots in this leather, right? Because as you're tying these hitches around, you're going to be pulling this leather tight, and woe would be if you're like this far down and you pull that hitch tight and then all of a sudden your leather breaks, right? So let's keep it nice and just make sure that it's nice and tight, okay? So, or nice and flaw free is what I want to say. So let's get a little tighter here. So the way that this is going to start is, I don't know, I get maybe about 4 inches of leather and I'm just pulling that kind of to the side to the left, okay? And that's going to just lie across my ring. Now, don't worry, your first couple of knots are going to look a little bit funny, right? So just kind of let it, just go with me on it. You can always untie this, and we are probably going to untie a couple of knots that sit kind of funny at the beginning. So don't even worry, don't stress, okay? So now I'm laying the cord over the ring. Can you see that? And now I'm bringing the cord behind the ring and through. And what that is doing is it's creating a loop that's kind of going around the ring like this, right? Now here comes the knot, right? Just like we do when we're doing a macrame half hitch. Here's the loop. We just pass the cord through that loop. Can you see there's the knot? Now, if I had let this go right now, it would come undone. So I want to keep my thumb there, and I'm going to do another one. And now see, the cord now is naturally behind. So I'm just going to come in, loop it, bring the cord around to the front, and through the loop. Okay, tying that hitch. Here's my second hitch. See that? Let me get it a little tighter. There you go. Now let's do it again. The cord is looping from behind, right? I go through the loop and then pass through the metal hoop, right? You can also grab the tip of the leather cord, right? I'm just kind of grabbing it at the middle and pushing it through. But it just goes through the loop like that. And tighten. And you know you're doing it correctly because all of your little hitches are facing the right way. Okay. So let me I'm going to do this a little more at Kate's speed, right? I'm going to go through, pass it through, right? Emily's saying, could we try this with wire? Sure, Em. I bet you could, especially finer gauge, right? That would be cool. Try it. Try it, Emily Miller. Try it. So what I did was when I made this earring, or this section, I got to about here, and I said to myself, self, this needs beads, right? Because what doesn't need beads, right? But you could just continue on. You don't have to add beads. Right? But I had some brass shadows sitting next to me on the table because I have to have shadows near me, I guess, all the time, even at my house, right? So, I had done about 5, and I thought, well, I'm going to add a bead. So the shadows, these brass shadows, see what a large hole they have? So I just decided to slap on one of those beads. I'm going to widen it just a little bit. Put on one of those beads. Now I just pretend the bead isn't there, right? And I come around the front of the loop and pass it through. Okay. And then you just keep going. Now I counted in this one that I did here, I did 4 half hitches between each bead. Okay, yeah, you could totally do this with teardrops. You guys, I want this to set you on a creative fire, because you know it's right now, if you're watching this live, we all know it is Friday, July 31st in the dumpster fire year of 2020. So we need as much creativity and good times as we can make it, right? So see how I do this pretty quickly by just kind of holding it here, make the loop, and push the cord through, kind of all in one motion. So I'm going to keep going this so you can kind of see the flow here. So here's this. It's time. I've counted 1, 2, 3, 4. I'm going to put on a bead. You could also use a 6/0 seed bead, right? That would work. Whatever has a large hole, right? An O bead would probably work. So here's this. Go on. Now go around the back. And this is how, Kim, you wrapped your pie with the tassel on it. Awesome. I love it. I should have realized that that was the case. Maybe that's how I was inspired to do this. You know? So tighten it up just a little. See how I tighten? I pull a little bit and then I pull it over. You don't want to, like, you want it to look visually tight and even. You want your tension to be even. But you don't need to, like, you know, it's not a lifeline. Just relax. Just kind of tighten it up and then move to the next one. So see how then I make the loop, push it through, and tighten. Okay? Make the loop in back, bring it through, and tighten. Make the loop in back, pull it through, and tighten. Okay, and the way that we sell this cord on Bead Shop, we sell leather cord in a lot of different sizes, right? This is the 0.5 millimeter, which is our thinnest, and we carry it. You can go to beadshop.com and go to our leather cord page, and you can sort it by size. Okay, so you can find the different sizes that way. Again, same thing with Chinese knotting cord. We just sell it by the spool, so you can, you know, just jump in and choose as many colors as floats your boat. So here, that first one, tighten it down, and then I just kind of come in and tighten it. So that's 2. Just bring it around. That's the hitch. Brittany knows this half hitch stitch very well. If you've watched any of Brittany's macrame videos, you know that she does, like, in her in place project, right, which is super gorgeous, and a lot of you have been making it. This half hitch figures very prominently in that. So you already know how to make this knot, right? It's just a half hitch, but instead of doing it over a cord or something that's a straight bar, we're doing it around a ring, all right? So just push that little one first, and then we just come in and we'll do those 4. Now again, you don't have to have beads. You could have whatever it is you want. There, no beads, just cord. It does have a little bit of a nautical flair. Michelle was commenting on that. It is a bit nautical, which is cool. And again, this is the 0.5 that I'm doing right here. Okay. So I'm getting close. Now I could stop here. Wouldn't this be cool as an earring to just stop right there? I could just glue these down and then add a ring there, and it would be really pretty, right? But what I did, let's talk about where we are with this, okay? What I did was I came up here, and when I was just finishing this last one, right, the cord broke. And I was like, wait, what? What happened? So I said to myself, what are you gonna do? So I just decided to glue down the little, let me go back here. Sorry, I lost the thing here for just a second. So I came in and I just took the little ends and I glued them down with zap glue onto the loop, onto the ring. Okay. And so then you can see that here. And then I just added another piece of cord and I continued to knot. And so I had the two pieces coming out here, and then I used macrame up here at the top. Okay, so I'm just going to come in. I just have a couple more sections to do. Okay. So let's do that, and then I'll show you how to do the double, because the double doesn't have any beads or anything at all, and I'll show you that. So we're going to keep going with this guy. Okay. Like that. And then I'm just going to come in and continue going. Okay, like this. And we'll just continue. So there's my 4. Let's get this. Every 4 I put a bead on. And I'll take this moment as I'm working through this guy to just remind all y'all that you can find all of this stuff right on our website at beadshop.com, right? And Drea has just finished the product listing over there, and we would love it, especially if you're new and you haven't done it before. You can go right to our YouTube channel and give us a follow. That way you can always get notified when we go live. All right, we're super close, right? It looks like I've got one more section to do ish. So let's do that. We're on the home stretch. And as I get a little bit tighter with my I don't want to get too tight. I want it to be nice and even. So let's do this. So remember, going around to the back, coming up and through, and creating that half hitch. And if you missed the beginning of this broadcast, if you guys jumped in a little bit later, it's no big deal. NBD, you guys, you can always watch the rebroadcast of this again and again. And I hope this weekend you create some fun pendants using this technique. So here we go. So we're just about at the end. And this is where, when I made my first one, the leather broke. And I was like, wait, what? It was a total bummer. So what I did was, it broke at about right here, right? And I had a short little tail. I didn't leave a long tail like this. So I took that little end and I glued it down like that with the zap. And I glued this one down like that with the zap. And I came in with a fresh piece of leather. This is the wrong color, but you'll see what I did. I came in with a fresh piece of leather, just brought it back around, and just started knotting a little bit here. Okay, and then I put on a shadow bead, the brass shadow, and I'll show you. Then I kind of continued on like I'm going to show you here. Okay, so I'm gonna do one more half hitch here to get that 4. Okay, and going through. Now remember, when I started this little extravaganza, I had 5 right here. This was this first one, right? So I'm gonna take it out, And I'm just going to kind of pull it around so it kind of takes up that space. See there? And look at how that space looks about the right size for a shadow bead. So I'm going to put this on. Now, can you see how the shadow here, I'm going to go through once, and this 5mm leather fits perfectly. I'm going to go through one side, and I'm going to go through the other. Okay, and if you don't have quite enough space here, see how this one is a little bit tighter? I'm actually going to add a couple of more hitches here. Okay, so it looks kind of similar. No one will be close enough to your ears, you guys, to count to see if your half hitch numbers are exactly the same, right? So I'm going to go through here, and then I'll do this one here. I'll tie that one back on. There we go. Now, let me show you this. If we're going the opposite way, okay, we don't put our cord, right, because I've been going to the right here. If we're going in the opposite direction and we want our half hitch to go the same direction, we need to put the cord in front and tie it from behind. Okay, and that way it'll seat it. See how now it's correct? So if we're going to the left, well, I guess we're coming around to the left here, and if we're going back to the right, we would go in front. Okay, so you just have to go pass it in the opposite direction. There we go. That's a little bit smaller, a little bit tighter in there. So I'm going to come in and do that shadow again, and do this one again, and tighten it, and see there how that just comes in. Okay, I am going to show you, here's the listing one more time. Okay, I'm going to show you that just real quick so you guys can see it. So again, you can substitute just about any cord that you like, right? Any beads, as long as they fit on your cord, right? Doesn't matter. Whatever it is you like to use. Then from there you can just kind of go in and play around with some different, with whatever different look that you like. But this shows you how to, what it is that I used. So now we're going to look at the ring hitch using 2 chords, and then I'm going to show you how I would finish off both of these. Okay, so just bear with me here one second while I get back to that. Okay, there we go, and let me go back over here. All right, and let's look at now. Can you see how I've got the 2 chords here? Okay, now the mantra for these 2, well, first let me show you how to attach the 2 chords, and you can see it's the same, but we're going from 2 chords. We're going from the left side and the right side, so it's actually like we're doing a double of what we've got here. Okay, so here is that. I'm going to start from the beginning, but I'm going to cut some shorter chords so that these chords aren't flying all over the place. Okay, so I'm going to cut, I'm using the gray and the peacock in the 0.5 millimeter, and it is it's the Chinese knotting cord. Okay. So I'm just going to tie a little knot here. I'm going to actually tie these cords around, and this, you're going to untie this later. Okay, so give yourself a little bit of a tail. I don't know, maybe this is like 4 inches or so. Okay, and I'm just going to tie it one more time, and kind of loosely, because this is going to, maybe I don't need, well, I'm going to leave it, because you're going to untie this later. Okay, so let's get a little bit tighter here so you can see it. All right, so now here's that little, what I wrote here earlier. The ring hitch using the 2 cords. Okay, you've got 2 cords. You've got a left cord, which I'm going to make this gray one, and a right cord, which is this peacock one. Okay. Now, from the right, you are, hang on, give me 1 second. There we go. We're going to start from the left. Okay. So the left cord, we're going to go to the right over the ring. Okay. Forming a loop. Now we're going to pass this cord under the ring, just like we did before, right? We're going to put it through the loop. We're going to tighten it, and we're going to bring this cord back to the left. Now for the second cord is, I'm going to go to the right cord, and I'm going to go to the left over the ring, under the metal ring, forming a loop. And the first ones look kind of fumbly, so just bear with me here. Pass the end of the cord through that loop and pull it back to the right. Okay, I'm going to get a little tighter. Okay. Now, this, still on my left cord, I'm going to go back to my left cord. Left cord to the right over the ring, under the metal ring, and that forms your loop. Can you see that? I pass the end of the cord through that loop, trying not to catch all of these guys. Tighten and pull the cord back to the left. Now, here's the right hand cord. So I pass the right hand cord to the left over the ring, making the loop, under the ring, and back through the loop, pulling it tight and pulling it back to the right. Okay, so I'm going to go a little bit faster to the right and under, through the loop, and down. Here's to the left, the right cord to the left, through the loop, metal hoop, through the cord, and back down to the left. So your cord colors never, whoops, sorry, I keep going out of frame. Your cord colors never switch sides. Okay, you just switch a side, go through, that's your hitch, that's your half hitch, right? And if we continued making this half hitch, we'd be doing with just the one side, we'd be doing this, right? But we're going back and forth, switching our chords. So to the left, from the right, and through the loop. And this is where you might screw up, right? Once you get your chord, if I can, once I get my chord through that loop, I want to make sure and bring it back to the side that it originated from. See that? Whoops. So there you go. Okay. So tighten and tighten. So you're just going to continue on around until you have created this 2 double hitch around each side of, you know, around the whole loop of your disc or your washer or whatever it is you're making this through, right? You could also do this around the semi-precious discs, would look great. I'm going to widen this just a little bit because now you've kind of got the idea. And to the left, and now go from the right and behind to the left, put it through. And I cut intentionally a pretty short piece of cord, right? I cut probably about 1 yard, about 36 inches. Okay, so here it is. So you can see around the sides, and then once you get back to the beginning, you can kind of untie that little knot that you made. There we go, just that first little knot. And you can bring it all the way around, and then you could knot it together or put it up, you know, around a bead or something to go through it, okay? Or just glue it down, okay? Whatever works for you. But let me show you now this guy so you can see. I'm going to untie that one other knot right here too. I love this double. So if you're doing like a double, there we go. If you're using like a washer that's maybe bigger, it really shows like the 2 colors that you're doing here, right? The opposite colors that you're creating, right? It's kind of cool. But if you're doing just that single, the single one is great for washers that are skinnier like this, or hoops that are skinnier. And you can also just do like a short little section of this, right? And you can bring this up at the top. It's a great way to just hang something, you know. You could bring a big bead that covers all of this, right? But can you see how here on the top, what a really pretty weave it gives it? And you can kind of push the weave together a little bit here to make it a little bit tighter, right? To fix that up. Now with this one, what I did to close this, where is that piece? I did it with just our simple macrame close. Oh, and what Kim is saying, Kim, that's super smart. At home, you can stand this ring up in the slots of your macrame board and work on it, so you're not jumbling it around with your fingers. That's super smart. I've got my macrame board right here, or you could maybe also, if you had your clamper, right, you could do it that way too. That's also fun. That's also something that you can do. Okay, that looks good. Awesome. So, but for this, I want to show you, you guys have done this before, right, with our wrap bracelets. We do this all the time, right? So let me grab, I made a little leash here with just a piece of kitchen twine, and I'm going to pull that through, and I'm going to clip this to the board over here. I need it to be kind of long. And now I've got my, whoops, I want it to be in the center though. Come on. There we go. Okay. So we've got that. So now think about the possibility. I know you're thinking about the possibilities. I know you are. I know that I hope that your head is just exploding with creativity here. We could use this as a section in our wrap bracelet, right? That would be super cool, right? You could use this as a pendant, right? You can attach dangles, you could attach things, you could attach other macrame pieces here to those shadows, right? But I'm just going to turn this into kind of its own little component. So if I'm doing some macrame here, I'm going to, let me widen this shot so you can see what I'm doing, so you don't have to guess, those of you. I'm going to come down and I'm going to clip the ends. That's why I give myself some extra. This is about, I'll tell you, where did my tape measure go? I don't know, about almost 4 inches right there, maybe a little bit longer, 4.5 inches. Okay. So I'm coming in with another piece of cord, about 18 inches. And I'm going to come up, I wanted to make this actually a little bit shorter, but so you guys can see it, I made it a little bit longer. I'm just going to macrame, and I'm going to leave a little bit of space because when I bring that macrame around to form the veil, I want some just bare leather to macrame around. So I'm going to go down, I don't know, maybe that's about 1/8 of an inch or so. And I'm just going to start macrameing. So I'm going to go with my loop. Let me get it tight here, and I'll go a little bit slower. On beadshop.com we have some great skill builders for this macrame, so don't sweat it. I know a lot of you have done our Bollywood bracelets and stuff, so you're familiar with it. Let me go over a little bit here. There we go, because I want this tension to be even on the top here, or else this will sit kind of funny. So now I'm going to just do my P right here, right? I'm going to come over from this side, go over the cord, under the second cords, and up through that loop. Same half hitch, right? Same half hitch that we were doing here. Now again, I'll make my loop. This is the Q side right here. Go over with the tail, under the center, and up through the loop. So I've started this macrame veil. Okay. So I'm going to keep going with that. And I didn't go very far because I didn't need a lot of stitches for this, right? Because I didn't want the loop to be too giant. So I'm just going to go here at Kate speed, right? Donna is saying the dark gray CKC and the aged brown striped Picasso. Yes. Our aged Picasso, check Picasso beads would be amazing with this. Notice how I have my piece lashed down, and I'll show you this before I unhook it so you can really see. In order to have a really good and even macrame, right? It needs to be connected well. So see how it's here on my board, right? And that way I can just come in and just do that macrame, and it moves around a little bit, but it's tight enough that it's fine. I'm going to guess that that's about as much as I did. I don't know for the loop. Let me measure it for you. I don't know, maybe 1/2 inch, maybe just a touch more. Janice was also saying how great this would look around an old bangle. I bet you have old hoops or old something that need a little bit of, new life. Wouldn't that look great around it? So now I'm going to just check my loop, and you can see, yep, that looks good. That's when I put my ring. Since this is chain, the chain doesn't open or close. So I'm going to put that chain link through all this right here. Goes through. Now I've got to lash it down again, so this is kind of it's kind of important so your piece doesn't move around as you're macrameing the last portion. So I'm going to loop it through, Get a little tighter. Yeah, Anastasia's saying a clipboard also works. Yep, you could do that for sure. So this comes around, I'm going to come in and I'm going to clamp. I'm just going to clamp my chain down. Well, maybe I clamped my chain down before, but that's a little messy. Let's put our little leash back in here, right? So this tightens. Then, now here to get this tight, I still am going to continue to macrame with these ends that I had before, but I just want to make sure that this comes in and is tight enough. If it's not long enough here to the board, I'll go ahead and get another piece of kitchen twine, your handy dandy kitchen twine. All right, I'm just going to stick it through here and tighten it up. You don't want to pull it too tight because nothing's tied down yet, okay? But I'll come in from the back and then I'll just keep doing my macrame. But I'm macrameing all of these guys together. The first knot will feel a little goofy, so just tell this cord who's the boss. You're the boss, right? And come in. Make sure that loop is even. There you go, and tighten it down. All right, so let's just macrame. And I want these to be nice and even on the back, so I'll get one more clamp. I think I've got one more that I can reach here. Whoops. That one just popped right off. We don't want that. Stay up there. I need one other hand, somebody. There we go. Let's just clamp that together for now until it gets even. There we go. Our clampers are super handy. This was a tool that Emily introduced us to, and I don't know how we did without it. We used binder clips before, and if you have binder clips you can use them too, but these are so easy to take on and take off, pull on and pull off. Okay, so this is the thing. This is how we're going to finish it. Okay, so I'm here, I've got maybe 2 stitches worth left, right? So I'm going to pick up my zap glue and I'm going to be super careful not to get glue on my precious velvet pad. So I'm going to put a little drop cloth underneath there, which is a plastic baggie. Now I'm going to do a little, just a drop, like just a touch, and I'm going to get that drop here also on my Q-tip, on my toothpick, and I'm going to turn it to the back and put that little drop there. Not a lot, a little goes a long way. You don't want a giant puddle of glue. Okay, I'm going to put that to the side and I'm going to macrame over the top of that glue, being very careful because zap, that's why it's called zap. It sets super fast, so I don't want to glue this to my hand, right? She says as she glues her fingers together. So I'm going to do one more. There's still some glue on there. Now before I tighten that knot up completely, here's my glue, just a little, right? No, don't go crazy now, right? Get a little bit of that, just a drop. Put a little where the knot is going to close. And again to the back a little bit where that knot is going to close. Close up the glue so it doesn't glue itself to your arm. Ask me how I know. And then tighten. And this is also why you really want to check to make sure that your leather cord doesn't have any little weak spots in it. So I'm going to use my toothpick to kind of push that glue in where I need it. I can unclamp this finally. I'm going to turn it to the back and make sure that glue is there. I feel like I need just a dot right there. So I'm going to put it, because remember you can always add more glue, but it's really hard to take glue away, right? So if this wasn't jewelry demo time and this was real Kate making jewelry time, I would let this sit 24 hours before I cut anything away. But I'm going to come here on the back and I'm going to clip away these two strands. I'm going to clip this one, and again it would be after 24 hours of sitting, but there you have it. Okay, so that's done. If you have a little blue Sharpie marker or even like a black marker, sometimes what I do, because the leather, especially with this dyed leather, that little one right there, this is a black Sharpie, but it'll blend a little bit better if I just take the Sharpie and dot it there. Now no one will see it. Okay, and then to make it match for the other one, let me widen this up. I'll go ahead, clip the rest of that chain away, take it out of its little leash, and all we need now are your friend and mine, the ear wires. Let me get my pliers. They're put away where they should be. So when you open the jump ring on this ear wire, right, you open it up very carefully so it's forward here. Slide that sucker on. Open it up enough so you can slide the chain in though. There we go. Whoops. Let's make sure I'm putting it on the right direction. Yep. I'm using bent chain nose for this. So there you have it. I kind of like that earring silhouette. I could come in and add some fringe or add some other stuff up there. I don't know. I might make this bail connection maybe a little bit shorter for earrings, but maybe not. We'll see how it looks. Whatever, you figure. You do what you like what you like. But check it. Look at those. That's not too bad if I do say so myself. So I will. There you are, right? And then this double one, where did my friend go here? I've been throwing it around. Here it is. Right, this guy. You can do a double as well. So this is the single hitch that's going in one direction. This is the double with 2 cords. All right. So you can find, if you got to the broadcast a little bit late and you're like, wait a minute, Kate, what did you use? Well, I've got this. Here's this list, and Drea added the whole materials list that I use, the ingredients list. It's over on our website at beadshop.com. It's under ring, bolt, hitch, knot, and you'll see all of those there. I'm going to send her a photo of these in a little bit. And then here's the mantra that we did using the 2 chords, and so you can screenshot that, and that's the mantra there for the 2 chords. Okay, so I think it's fun. I hope you had fun with it. You know, use some washers, we have all kinds of different kinds of stuff here at Bead Shop that you could play around with, right? You could even do this if you had like a heavier chain, or like Janice was mentioning, if you have an old bangle or an old pair of hoops at home, you could try this out. Try the different cords that you might have. Again, 5mm leather here and 0.5mm Chinese knotting cord. There's a request. Gita wanted to see them in my ears, so I'll take these off. And the length of leather, I don't know. Give yourself about 1 yard for each of these with this size hoop, Donna. If you go any bigger, give yourself about 1.5 yards. You don't want to run out of leather and try and I don't know, add like I did on this one. It was much easier to have the right length of leather here. Okay, so let me do that. I'll come over here. Let's put this one in. There we go. It actually looks pretty good. Let me take this one out. Change my earring wardrobe as we speak. There we are. Okay, so we're all good. Ta-da, there it is. Goes with my COVID cut. So I hope you guys enjoyed this. And again, if you're new to watching us here at beadshop.com, you can go to our website for information on the project and the products from this broadcast. You can sign up for our newsletter for all of the latest discounts, giveaways, and new products. If you would like to join, you can join us over on Facebook. We have a beadshop.com group. It's called the Bead Table, and you just need to go over and add yourself, answer some questions, and we check about, I don't know, about twice a week or so, and let our new members in. We'd love to have you over there, right? There's so many photos and inspiration and color photos, and people post their bead shop projects. It's pretty awesome. It's a pretty awesome group. We're over 5,000 strong over there, so we'd love to have you join us. So you can do that. Find that group there. And again, if you follow us here on our YouTube channel, or and hit that follow, we really, really appreciate it, because it helps other beaders find us as well. And without your support, we would not be able to be here doing what we love and bringing this creativity to you, especially in these times when we need as much positive thinking, as much good creativity, and as much distraction to keep our hands busy as possible. So next week on Wednesday on Bead Shop Live, I have a project for you, and I'm calling it Hybrid. It's a mashup of poetry and of our Born Yesterday project, and I hope you guys are going to love it. I put up a couple of little teasers. I'm going to put up another teaser this weekend over in the group so you can see how it comes along. It'll also keep me working on it, so I'll have it done by broadcast time next week, I hope. So anyway, thank you guys so much. It's great to see so many new viewers and new followers. We really, 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 really appreciate your support. So have a great weekend. I can't wait to see. This is a simple and fast project. So go stash diving, see what you have to be creative, and go to the group and post it. We'd love to see it. So remember, wash those hands, wear those masks, and keep up that social distancing, you guys. We are going to come out the other side of this if we all work together. So have a fantastic and creative weekend, and I will see you on Wednesday for the next installment of Bead Shop Live. Thanks so much, everybody. Have a great weekend.